Hello and welcome to episode 1 of a Plants vs Zombies on Scratch tutorial. I am not a huge fan of actually making tutorials, at least not recently, and my recording thing is also being weird, but hopefully I can do this, because I like making the Plants vs Zombies stuff, but I'm not a huge fan of making the tutorials. So this first tutorial is going to be pretty simple, hopefully, because we're just sort of setting up some base code. Such as drawing the lawn. So let's start by creating a sprite called Draw Manager. So basically, the project is going to use pen because there's a lot of benefits that brings, and it only looks slightly worse. And you can use Turbo Warp if you don't like the pixelation. I've made a test project to see how things look, and it should work. So this Draw Manager is not going to have any costumes. But what we're going to do is when we start the game, we're going to have a broadcast that says start game. And the reason that is let's say you want to change it so that you don't start in the level. Then you would have to go through and find all the flag clicked blocks. But now instead, all you have to do is change that. Anyway, so what we're going to do is when I receive start game, we're going to create a forever loop. And we're going to be drawing the screen every frame. So forever, clear the screen to erase it, and then draw screen. So there's a function, so it's going to draw the entire screen at once. And now what we can do is put broadcast blocks in it. So draw. The first thing you want to draw is the background. And so you want to order these and when they should be drawn. And then you're going to want to draw the plants. And then you want to draw the zombies. And we might change this a bit later, but for now we'll just do this. Then draw collectibles. And then there should be one more. Draw UI. So this is the order things are going to get drawn in. So you draw the background, then you draw the plants, then you draw the zombies, then you draw collectibles like sun, and then you draw UI, like the things you interact with, like the seed packets. So we now have this script that will be drawing the screen every frame. Nothing's actually being drawn yet, but let me just show an example of why we use pen. Let's say you wanted a cone head zombie. So if you're not using pen, then you would need a costume with the zombie and a costume with the zombie with the cone. But because we're using pen, we don't need to. What we can simply do is, when I receive draw zombies, so we'll be stamping. You switch the first costume and you switch the second costume. And it will combine them, even though they aren't combined. Which is useful if you want to, say, do something like, not sure why you'd want to do this, but it's a very quick example. You could have the cone shake, and it's all just one clone. For now, the only thing we're gonna set up is the background, and then we'll start doing some other stuff later. So let's start by just making a tile. I think 50 should be a good amount. If you look up here, you can see that's 50 by 50. It's a square. Now, I would do an outline, but you don't have to. With my style of art, I usually do an outline of 2. And you can just throw some grass on there if you want. Just don't spend too long on the art, because when you're prototyping something, you usually want to start simple and then do the art later. So I'll probably come back to make this better later, but for now that should be good enough. Now, to draw the area. So when I receive draw background, we are going to draw the tiles. So the tile width will be 50. So let's have that set that. And then, so when it receives draw background, it will draw tiles. And the lawn is 5x9. I used to think it was 5x10 for some reason. So we're gonna have a 5 and a 9. And switch costume to grass thing. And we're gonna be stamping this many times. So as you can see, right now it's drawing, but it's not moving yet, so the tile width is 50, and we want to draw it 4 back, which means we need to start at -200, because we're going 4 backwards. And then change it. In fact, we should probably put this here. And for the Y, let's draw starting from the bottom. So now it's at the bottom left, and now basically we're gonna move by the tile. Oh. Okay, never mind. This is fine. Because it should loop back around. So this is how long the lawn is going to be, which fits pretty snugly. However, we probably want lawnmowers back here at some point. So I think we should decrease it a little bit, down to 45. And this is why you use a variable for it, so that you can easily change it. There, so now a lawnmower should be able to fit there pretty easily. And so we're stamping it 9 times in each row, and then we're going back and we're moving up by the tile width, and we now have a grid. However, I kind of want it to be different colors, so let's create a variable called grid number. Make it just for this sprite because we only need it for this, and before each stamp we'll change the grid number by 1. And if the mod of the grid number by 2 is 1, so what mod does is it like gets the remainder if you divide it by the number. So 1 mod 2 is 1, but 2 mod 2 is 0 because there's no remainder. 3 mod 2 is 1. Well, basically you can use this to tell if it's even or odd. So basically what we're saying is if it's odd, we should set the brightness to 0, otherwise set the brightness to -10. Seems like a good amount. And now it's more of a grid. So I think we will also add in a bit of a background, which will also be pretty prototype for now. And it's not showing up. Let's make it show up. So when we draw tiles, before we draw the tiles, let's set our X to 0, 0, switch to the background and stamp. So now we can see it. And we'll just have a blue sky. And we can detail the background more later. But so far the game looks like this. Remember, it'll take a while to set up, but it's like the further you get in, the faster things feel like they're being added. You have to do a lot of base code first. I think for the sake of my motivation, I'll probably end it there, because this will take a lot of tutorials to start looking good. But that's how you make the lawn and the thing here. Yeah. So next tutorial I'll have like seed slots and make it so that you can put a plant down, and then we'll just slowly work on stuff until the game's starting to be playable. If you want to try the test I've made and see what the game could look like after a few tutorials, then I'll link it in the description.